50 days, that's all the time Kevin McGonigle had in the big leagues, before Detroit handed him $150 million.
On the surface, it looks like a desperate gamble, but in a front office somewhere, the emotion has been stripped away. They aren't paying for a savior. They're paying for 2 wins. Just 2. 2.1, that is the war number driving the entire machine.
Why pay before the proof? Because Detroit isn't watching the highlights, they're watching a glitch in the market. Tonight, we are auditing the deal that shouldn't make sense. The math that turns risk into profit.
So that's the baseline. 2 wins over a full season, and the contract already works. That's all Detroit needs to not lose.
But players like this don't stay at the baseline. They move. And once they move, the math stops being neutral.
Because now, every extra win isn't just performance. It's control. Control over cost. Control over the timeline. Control over something other teams usually have to fight for.
And that's the part teams rarely get to keep. Because on the open market, once a player proves it, the price explodes. Fast. 3 wins turns into 30 million. 4 turns into 40. And by the time you're sure what the player is, you're already paying for it. Detroit skipped that step. They didn't wait for certainty. They bought before the climb. Which means if he even moves slightly past that 2-win line, they're not reacting to the market anymore. They're ahead of it.
And that gap? It doesn't show up all at once. It builds. Quietly. 1 season becomes leverage. 2 seasons become separation.
And by the time the rest of the league catches up, Detroit isn't negotiating anymore. They're controlling. So the question was never, can he reach 2? It's how far past it he goes before the market realizes what he is. Because once that realization hits, it's too late. The price is already gone. And if what's under the hood is real, Detroit didn't just make a good deal. They moved before anyone else knew they had to. Normally, the league has a process for players like this. Pitchers probe for a hole. They find a weakness, they exploit it, and they force the hitter to adjust or disappear. But when you look at the tape, the hole isn't there. Pitchers survive on one thing, the whiff. The escape hatch. Against him, that hatch is welded shut. That he doesn't just hit the ball. He refuses to miss it. Even when he's fooled, the barrel stays in the zone. He turns 100 miles per hour heaters into line drives. It's a mechanical efficiency that removes the pitcher's control. Mind blown?
We're talking about a player who lives in the top 1% of the game's elite. Detroit didn't wait for the league to figure him out. They bet that there's nothing to figure out. So this isn't just about Detroit. If this works, Detroit hasn't just won a trade. They've provided a blueprint. Teams don't want to pay $100 million for a player's declining 30s. They want the prime, and they want it at a discount.
Detroit hasn't just bought a player, they've bought leverage. Free agency, once the ultimate payday, is being bypassed. The massive contracts? They are becoming an endangered species. Audit the risk. And move before the price reaches its ceiling. The file isn't closed, because we are watching the death of the old way.